design processes. You saw the Merrill one, what was the other guy? Kemp, right? And there was Bloom and so on. So the things that we learned, that we came out with first, is you always want to have a problem. So you know what the problem is that you're trying to solve. Remember that? If you don't have a problem, if you don't know what you're trying to solve, then you're going to end up with Ocean State job lot. Those kinds of things, things that no one wants. What's needed is just objectively asking, finding folks, asking people, what do you think is needed? You don't judge it. Don't say, nah, that stinks, that's stupid. Don't. You just record what people want or what they think is needed because they're involved in the problem, so they would have some ideas. Does that make sense? And why is audience important?
You know who you're aiming at.
Sure, you know who you're aiming at. Exactly. So those are three major things that you're always going to need to know and to do to find out before you actually do your whatever projects you're doing, whatever design you're doing, whether it be in this class or with Dr. Abed, same thing. So those are pretty simple. And I'm going to ask you this week or the next couple of weeks to kind of define your problem. People can't do this or that. Don't go crazy with that. What the need is, again, the need will be for some kind of instruction to alleviate the problem because you're going to be having like 5 different presentations. So pick something that you can make different presentations for. And if you're stuck, just do one and see maybe another idea will come up. So don't get stuck on trying to think about what to do. Just pick something, and because you're going to be making 2 presentations or developing 2. You're not going to actually do them, but you're going to develop them on paper for the next couple of weeks. Okay, so it's not going to be
So will the keynote presentations and the notebook presentations be on that same topic, that same problem?
Yeah. In the end, you want to find a unit, a thematic unit, or something that you can teach and look at the different ways you can teach different things in it because there's going to be facts to remember, an overall idea. You know, for the interactive part, you can do just what I showed you up here, the concept map. You know, have kids come up and do stuff like that. So the idea is to try and look at something and teach it in different ways. You know, just attack it in different ways and use presentation technologies to do that. So the next thing that comes in here is, we call this a task analysis or content analysis. This looks at whatever it is you want to teach, and we kind of prioritize or look at it and look how it's done. So for example, here's the classic task that people always ask. How do you give me the steps, one by one, in order for making a peanut butter sandwich? I'm serious.
8th grade science.
Sorry?
8th grade science, that's what we had to do.
Then how would you start?
Well, we obviously have to take the 2 pieces of bread, but she took us so literally, it was hysterical. Like, all of us were cracking up laughing.
It has to be literal. In other words, if you're going to look at the steps, so what would the first thing you're going to do the peanut butter sandwich, what would the very first thing be?
I would think get the materials, your ingredients.
Extra materials. Okay, so good. You're going to say that back there too? Get the peanut butter and the... Okay, so you get the PB. And what else?
J.
PB was J equals good.
Bread.
And you didn't
Right.
Knife.
The knife.
What else?
Knife.
Plate.
Plate.
The knife.
Napkin. Or 2. You need a toaster too so you can toast the bread.
Okay, so what's the first step?
Open the peanut butter jar.
Open the bag of bread. Open the
Open-
bag of bread.
Open the bread first, open the bag of bread.
Open the bag of bread. Put the bread in the toaster.
Pull out 2 pieces of bread. After you.
See, but that's where she could get you, because it's you need to grab 2 slices of bread. If you grab 2 pieces of bread, you could literally just take 2 pieces
out, right.
out. They're like, about an inch big.
2 slices.
That's right, 2 slices.
You know what? I'll never come back.
So you want to be as specific as possible when you do a task analysis. As absolutely small step as is necessary. Because what you're going to do is take that task, you're going to turn around and you're going to train someone to do that. That's why you do the task analysis. Now, Dr. Abed and I were hired by Pratt and Whitney, you know the Pratt and Whitney? So they wanted us to develop a DVD that people out on the airplane could use to fix something. They wanted to carry them out there instead of having the books. So I used to work in the Air Force on the flight line, so I kind of had an idea about how to go about it. So they flew us to Washington, D.C., and we asked for an expert, for someone who knew how to fix something. And so let's say Vinny's the expert. So I said, okay, Vinny, I want you to go through the process of troubleshooting and fixing this, and at every step I want you to say it out loud, and I'm going to videotape it. So Vinny did it, or Vinny's alter ego did it, and I would videotape that, and then at the end, Dr. Abed and I would actually cut up the video and then look at the steps. We write them down, 1, 2, 3, and we'd ask Vinny, little Vinny, this is big Vinny, little Vinny, we would ask him, are these steps right? And he'd say, no, 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 this comes before this comes before that. And so finally, he would give us the peanut butter sandwich, or whatever it was that we were doing. We'd have the steps in order and what they were. Why would we want that? What would we do with that?
Because you don't want to miss a step.
Okay, but then what would we do with it next?
Oh, you could go back and then review it and put it into words or some other form.
Okay, and then what do you think we would do it after that, once we have it written down and so
Have
on?
somebody follow it.
Follow or make instruction that would do that would show it. So for example, if it was the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I could just make pictures, and one at a time, demonstrating it. Does that make sense? Or if it was fixing something on the airplane, I might have actually a little bit of video and some audio. So this is what we call a task analysis. It's something that you do with your hands. You know, you can do it. You can see it fixing a flat tire. There's another kind of analysis that you folks will be doing. It's called content analysis. And this is like if you have to teach something that is not a skill, like in science. Okay, a piece like that, the dark side of the moon. Actually, that's something you can demonstrate. What can you teach in science that you can't really demonstrate with real objects? Or any subject. What can you teach in any subject that you can't demonstrate with real objects? Abstract concepts, anything that you teach that's an abstract concept or some content? Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of.
What do you teach?
Community, like I teach first, second, and third grade.
Okay, community. So that's a perfect example. So community, I mean, you can show some pictures and stuff, but community itself, there are all sorts of things that might go into being a community. So what you might want to do is, let me make a new one here. If you do something, oh, I got this on here, it's got to get off. If you do something like community that's abstract, then what you want to do is do an outline. So a content analysis is like just doing an outline of something, but it's with the idea of you're going to be teaching this to someone, so what content comes first, what comes second, and so on. So what was your thinking? What did you mention again? I forgot.
Community?
Okay, so you had community as the thing you were doing. Is that recording?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so we have community. So give me some content in the community.
The rules of a community, or what makes a community safe, or what makes up a community.
Rules.
Who's in a community,
Who.
obligations in the community, we get to citizenship, Feed into workers, community helpers, government.
Okay, so we have a bunch of things. Now, if you're going to teach this, what comes first?
What is community?
What is it?
Okay, so we have to put it up here. And when you do your content analysis, what is the community? That'd be first on the analysis, and it's not a big deal. And what will come after that?
Who is in the community?
Okay, maybe who's in the community, or it just depends on how you want to teach it. Once you have your outline, then you can kind of make your instruction. Once you know the order of the information, you wouldn't start out with the obligations in the community, because who, what are you talking, government? We never even talked about that. So you want to put your content pretty much in an order that people can, you can use it for teaching. That's called a task analysis. Sorry? Or sorry, a content analysis. They're similar depending on what you want to teach. So what I want to do is, I need 3 groups. So let's see, we have, oh, perfect. So this is 4, 4, and 3. 4, 4, and 3 is like 11, right? Okay, what I want you to do is to make a type 1 presentation about good driving habits. And each group is going to have a different audience. So you guys have foreign students, you have senior citizens,
Yes.
and you have teenagers.
Oh,
So I'm going to give you guys a half hour. So at about 9:35 we'll get back. So you guys can go outside and sit down. One person be the recorder and just do a task analysis for that content for that different audience. So say you were going to make a presentation about that. What order of information would you have there? And be as specific as possible, because you may have to.
What's that?
And someone be a skeptic, so that if you could be a good
Were you looking
skeptic.
at me when you said be a skeptic?
Well, be a skeptic, so that if someone says something like do safety first, you say, well, why do safety first? Shouldn't we do this first?
Okay, stop recording.
Thank you.
You're welcome.